While I was making a list of movies to break down for this channel, Pink was obviously one of them. It has everything from great actors to great dialogues to amazing performances and a hook that keeps us on the edge of our seats till the movie ends. While I was thinking what angle to pick with this movie, I found one small flaw in the storyline. And initially I wasn't going to make a video about it. But then I realized that this is not the only film with this problem. Both Bollywood and Hollywood is filled with movies with the same problem, which is known as Deus Ex Machina. In the last video, I talked about creating an antagonist for your story, how the character or the force of antagonism in general pushes the protagonist to the edge and how the protagonist must find it within themselves to fight back and to bring things back to normal. The flaw that I found in Pink was that none of the main protagonists were equipped or prepared or even closely designed to handle the situation they were in on their own. Instead, the day was saved by an experienced lawyer who happened to be their neighbor, a guy who gave up his practice years ago and decided to jump in the story on his own. This character, though old and fragile, becomes the only force that stands between the protagonist and the forces of antagonism, looks them in the eye, tells them no, and successfully helps the girl restore balance in their life. What if he was not in the storyline? Was it just a coincidence that such a character, perfect to deal with the situation, happened to be their neighbor? To understand the problem of coincidences in storylines, let's take a closer look at Pink. Screenwriter Ritesh Shah wrote a very simple film, with the major part of it being a courtroom drama. And we feel a huge amount of relief when we watch Meenal, Falak and Andrea win against all odds. If in the given length of your feature film, you successfully form a relationship between your character and the audience, no matter how complex or deeply satisfying it is, you have achieved far more than most films. Now, I remember watching this movie for the first time. The coincidence factor didn't strike me at first. I guess all because of Deepak Sehgal's character that was so skillfully played by Amitabh Bachchan, we completely forgot that he is someone from the outside and not a part of either of the protagonist's life or even the inciting incident. Hollywood uses this phenomenon quite a lot. You can see it almost all your favorite movies, from Avatar to Transformers to 1978 Superman to The Matrix Revolutions. While researching for this video, I saw it all and now I can't just unsee it. But it's good to acknowledge such things so that you don't end up repeating the same. First thing you need to decide is the perspective or the point of view you are going to tell your story from. There can be a single perspective or multiple ones, but remember that each character then will be involved in different or common inciting incidents and they will react differently to it. Which makes me say this, if Pink would have been made from Deepak Sehgal's perspective, this film would have hit us differently. But since the story demanded to be told from the perspective of these girls, the writer should have equipped at least one of them so that they could lead the majority of the story, that are the courtroom scenes, rather than just being the witness. We see Deepak has his own world. His wife is sick and he is the only one who's taking care of her, and hence he decides to quit being a lawyer. If he had to pick one last case, there should have been some push from any internal or external force. That we don't get to see. And just before the last day of the hearing, we see that his wife passes away, but we don't see any effect of that on the case or the situation. Deepak fights and closes the case with the same passion, and hence it makes all the scenes that allow us into his personal life utterly meaningless. Let's refer to Robert McKee. He writes, "Story creates meaning. Coincidence then would seem our enemy, for it is the random, absurd collision of things in the universe, and is by definition meaningless. But the solution, therefore, is not to avoid coincidence, but to dramatize how it may enter life meaninglessly, but in time gain meaning." So the first rule, if you have to, bring coincidence in early to allow time to build meaning out of it. And avoid using coincidence beyond the midpoint of the story. Rather, put the story more and more into the hands of the protagonist. And second rule, never use coincidence to turn an ending. That's exactly what happens in Pink. Regardless, this movie does the job, as we are equally hooked till the end. We all felt empathy for all the three girls and never once we flinched about any courtroom argument, and were equally relieved when the court announced the verdict in the protagonist's favor. And we can't ignore the fact that the subtlety and the calmness that was required to play Deepak's character, only Amitabh Bachchan could have done it this gracefully. Well, he's a legend for a reason, right? So, what do you think about this movie? And can you point out more such Deus Ex Machina moments from any Bollywood movie? Drop them in the comments. Also, if you would like to suggest which movie should I pick next, feel free to drop me a message. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Until next time.